Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight in Sierra Leone, the opposition candidate heading into the runoff vote for the presidency later this month declares that the ruling APC party is done. The SLPP Julius Maada Bio will go head-to-head with Samura Kamara on the 27th. Also, a big week for Benin's crackdown on fake drugs. The country's official pharmacy body suspended, its top drug supplier is banned, and several farm executives jailed. And Mali's only passenger train is back on track. A lack of cash stopped the service for almost a year and a half, but the railway is now once again taking passengers from Bamako to Kai. France 24 gets on board. But first, in Sierra Leone, opposition leader Julius Maada Bio seems confident of his chances in the presidential runoff vote. He said that he thinks the ruling APC party is finished after he edged ahead of its candidate in the first round. Maada Bio and the APC's Samura Kamara will go head-to-head in the decider on March 27th.
The Electoral Commission announced that the two parties that have ruled Sierra Leone since independence are both in the second round. Opposition leader Julius Maada Bio of the SLPP obtained 43.3% of the vote, just slightly ahead of Samura Kamara from the ruling APC party, who took 42.7%. Outside the headquarters of the two parties, supporters are preparing for the runoff that will take place on March the 27th.
We are calling on all Sierra Leoneans who are members of the APC to continue the preparations to fight the second round. This is not about which region or tribe you come from. This is about the development of Sierra Leone.
The power is ours, but they refused to give it to us. They said there must be a runoff, and they said Dr. Samura of the APC will rule us, but we will not accept that. Our boss, Maada Bio, must rule.
Bio, who's 53, is running for a second time. He's known for his outspokenness. He once called Chinese infrastructural projects in the country a sham. Kamara is 66. A former minister, he lacked visibility until outgoing President Koroma tapped him as his successor. The man who came third is Kande Yumkela. He had been portrayed as the country's rising political star, but he only got 6.9% of the vote. Yumkela has yet to say which candidate he will back in the second round.
The president of Mauritius says that she will not step down over a financial scandal that has led to calls for her exit. Amina Gurib Fakim is the continent's only female leader. She's been accused of using a bank card given to her by an NGO to make personal purchases. Now, she insists it was an honest mistake as she mixed up the card with an identical personal one. The NGO has confirmed that she immediately informed them of the mistake and paid back the money. Last week, though, the Prime Minister announced that Gurib Fakim had agreed to resign. She insists that she is staying on and will be clearing her name. The EU's warned that it will toughen up its visa policy if African nations refuse to readmit economic migrants turned back from Europe. Brussels has been trying to get more cooperation in repatriating those who've left their country of origin for any reason other than for fear of persecution and violence. EU officials believe that the majority of people coming from sub-Saharan Africa head towards Europe in the hope of making a better life. Some African governments are accused of dragging their feet in readmitting those sent back. Some diplomats suspect that is in part due to the economic boost offered linked to money migrants sent home from abroad. On Monday, Benin suspended the country's official pharmacy body for 6 months and banned a key drug supplier in a bid to clear up the pharmaceutical sector and crack down on fake drugs. The decision came a day after a court ruling jailed pharmaceutical executives on charges of selling counterfeit medicine. Take a look.
It's a big step forward in Benin's war on counterfeit medicines. On Wednesday, new Cesamex, the country's top pharmaceutical supplier, was banned and its products recalled. The labs based in Congo and its representative in Benin had already been forced on the run after several hundred boxes of drugs were seized from his home last December. The crackdown on fake medication also saw several pharmaceutical executives condemned on Tuesday to up to 4 years in prison for selling counterfeit drugs.
This decision is a warning to the industry. It's a decision that teaches Africa and the whole world a lesson about fake drugs that are sold in all African countries, in the streets, in shops, under trees. A lesson about what's not being done and what shouldn't be done.
According to the World Health Organization, expired and counterfeit drugs are responsible for nearly 100,000 people dying each year in sub-Saharan Africa. President Patrice Talon has vowed to crack down on the trafficking of these products. His critics say that this is a bid to replace wholesale retailers with new suppliers close to the president.
A team of fact-checkers in Senegal are fighting fake news and, when possible, setting the record straight. Since 2012, Africa Check has been analysing all kinds of online content to debunk conspiracy theories and fake information doing the rounds online. The small team of journalists behind Africa Check now have a growing following. That reportedly includes President Macky Sall. Our correspondents report.
Here is where the first team of fact-checkers in Francophone Africa set about debunking online rumours every day. These journalists scour print and online media with a fine-tooth comb looking for fake news. Tips on how to beat diabetes to a so-called vaccine against HIV/AIDS. Today, all eyes are searching for fake health claims. Entirely made-up articles, hoaxes and fake information are rife online.
People are told that by eating certain types of fruit and vegetables, meat or spices, they will have a big bottom. It's information that's been shared and relayed several times on social networks to people who believe in it, who share. Once we have the elements that deny the rumour, the false information, we publish it on our site and share it on social networks.
Africa Check also digs deep when it comes to political claims, a time-consuming task that results in just 3 articles being published per week.
People aren't keen when it comes to helping us, because the information they give us and what we publish can make their manager or their minister uncomfortable. The most important thing in the work we do isn't so much to show that this or that person isn't telling the truth, but to give the public the right answer.
The fight for good journalism and best practice comes as mobile internet use has led to the explosive growth in the number of sites, blogs and social media accounts. For Senegal alone, there are more than 200 sites dedicated to news in the country. The boom's made it difficult to keep track of what's being published online.
In Senegal, the law on the so-called press offences, which are basically laws on the dissemination of false information, existed well before the arrival of the internet. People often spread false information about very sensitive health issues, and no one is prosecuted, nothing happens. Sometimes for a photo, a caricature of the President of the Republic, there are prosecutions. It's rather surprising. It's at the prosecutor's discretion when he does and doesn't prosecute.
With less than a year to go until the presidential elections, internet users fear there'll be an increase in fake news on social and traditional media.
Mali's only passenger train is back on track. A lack of cash stopped the service for 15 months, but last month the railway once again began taking passengers from the capital Bamako to the city of Kay. Our team on the ground tells us more.
Her ticket in hand, Fatoumata is hurrying to get on the train in Bamako. Trains leave on time here. It will take her 18 hours to get to Kay, the town where she lives, but she thinks the train is more comfortable.
There are many advantages to travelling on the train. You can buy fresh fruit, potatoes, gifts for children. It's cheaper than going by car. And in other vehicles, you can't take as much luggage because it's too expensive.
Around 20 isolated villages inaccessible by car rely on the train that covers the 492 kilometres between Bamako and Kay.
In Tukuto, 90% of families survive thanks to the train. If there is no train, there is no life here. Our whole economy relies on it.
The train carries goods and people. More than 400 passengers pile into packed carriages, providing a captive market to hawkers.
Every time the train stops here, if I sell well, I can make around 15 euros. But without the train, I could never earn that much.
There's only one engine car, and it dates back to 1987. Frequent breakdowns are a worry. The train only runs twice a week, and its speed is often affected by badly maintained railways.
From Tukutu to Kay, it's hell. We have to drive at 30 kilometers an hour. The rest of the way we can drive from 75 to 80 kilometers an hour.
The government pledged over 6.8 million euros in June, funds that still haven't materialised, and railway workers haven't been paid in 5 months.
Well, that's it for Eye on Africa. Thanks for joining us. Do so again if you can. Take care.